theblackboard.com.
Right now, you're tuned into BYNKRadio.com. Up next, we've got Black.Married.Fly with the sultry Candace Denea and her husband, Treblemaka. Listen, y'all. What up, y'all? This Treblemaka.
And I'm Candace Denea, and this is another episode of Black.Married.Fly.
Did you like our intro? We got a new intro, so let us know what you think about our intro.
I know, because we're on episode 11 now.
11. Woo, woo,
woo, woo, woo, woo.
We've come so far.
I know.
Yeah.
We have come very far for something that started out as kind of like a joke, and let's talk to people about being married because we're the authority on it.
Nope. Yeah, I know, right?
So long.
1 year in.
1 year and a day in.
Right. It was it like 1 year and a day?
I think it was when we first started talking about, man, we need content.
Yeah. When I first started talking about it, I was like,
we married.
Let's talk about our life. How many black people talking about their life and their marriage and trials and tribulations and all that real talk.
True.
So, YouTube viewers, thank you for tuning in. If you're on YouTube, then you especially notice that we are dressed a little bit different than normal. Hey, YouTubers, appreciate it. As always, you can tune into BYNKRadio.com for all your entertainment as far as underground hip hop and artist interviews and all that good stuff. That's where this show is hosted. So, like I said, thank you for tuning in. How was your week, baby?
My week was okay. It's actually kind of boring. I
Really?
worked a full 5 days, which
That's
not that
boring.
I'm lazy, but that extra day is always a day. It's just hard.
Yeah.
It's just always hard. How was your week?
My week was pretty straight. I feel like it went by a little fast. It's kind of weird, you know, that it feels like it just went by like, and then it like started slowing down like on Thursday. It's like, no, you need to feel the burn. No weekend so fast quickly.
True, but now that the weekend's here, our Sunday, it's a snuggle Sunday.
Snuggle Sunday, definitely.
I know. So why don't you tell the folks what you got on?
I have on what's called a kigurumi. If you're a nerd, then you probably know what that is. I got the dragon kigurumi on.
For layman's people, it's a onesie.
It's adult pajamas. Adult onesie pajamas. That's what I would call it.
And I just have on my Care Bear Stay Warm poncho because we are still saving for this house. And an easy way to save is to cut down on things you don't really have to do, like turn on the heat. When you
no heat.
Put on a jacket or a sweatshirt. And I'm like queen of the hoodies, so.
But when it start, we ain't crazy now. When it start to get to like 20 below, that heat will be coming on.
Yeah.
It just ain't on
We
right
just can't
now.
survive.
Yeah. So that is what it is.
Yeah.
We ain't got nothing to drink.
Nah.
We ain't had nothing to drink past couple episodes.
True, but we don't have to be alcoholics all the time. But what
I
I was
got no
excited
water.
about, I know, it's like, Sprite would go nice right now with all the Missy Elliott lyrics on it. Shouts out to Sprite.
Yeah, that was like
Power in hip hop.
you bought them Sprites. I feel like I hadn't had a Sprite in like 6 years.
I know, it was delicious, wasn't it?
I'm not big on soda.
I'm trying to like savor them, so like I only have one a week.
Really?
Really?
One a week?
Yeah.
So you done for like the next 4 weeks then?
I mean, I had 2 last week, which was over the limit, and today's Sunday, so I just had my one.
Yeah. We still on our health kick, so if y'all heard our last episode, we crunching down on the health kick, trying to get fly for our Vegas trip next year. We went to the gym, 4 times this week?
Yeah, until I caught my little midweek cold. I had to fight that off.
You just got a midweek cold that's on schedule?
No, it was just weird because it started like on Tuesday night, and then Wednesday I was feeling like crap. It was super hard to work that day. Doctor was feeling like crap.
Okay.
And now I'm out of medicine, but I feel better.
Good. We try to answer questions always early up front. We do have a question. I'll get into the question in a minute, but before I do get into the question, how can people reach you to ask you questions?
You can reach me at Candace Denea, that's CANDACE_DENEA on everything.
And you can reach me at Treblemaka. That's TREBLEMAKA. That's me on IG. That's me on Twitter. That's me on I'm just on those two. I'm kind of old, so I'm not really on the Snapchat. Snapchat's kind of weird for me. I'm lurker friendly, but I don't like to post. I'm working on that.
Yeah, if you want to see snaps of him, go to my Snapchat.
Basically. You can also send us emails to blackmarriedfly@gmail.com. So, and we answer questions. Hit us, we hit you back. Even if it's just a comment, we want your feedback. So the question is coming from
Prime Time, who we shouted out last episode.
Shouts out to Prime.
For the fitness inspiration.
Yeah, get your fitness motivation from him. He's on Snapchat and IG and all of them doing his big thing. So his question is, How do y'all feel about Candace being a stay-at-home mom, or would y'all let y'all kids be raised in daycare?
I honestly, and I was talking about this to somebody earlier. I was just like, I just don't feel like I'm the authority to be asking this because we don't have kids. But personally, I don't think it's anything wrong with people being a stay-at-home mom if A, economically it's a good decision for your household, and B, y'all, you and meaning y'all, like you and your husband, are comfortable with the situation. I don't think that being a stay-at-home mom is right for me.
And why
I
is
get
that,
bored. I need change. I just don't want to be that parent that's just all about their kids because I can easily become obsessive, and I don't think it would be healthy for me or my child. Yeah. However, I do think that you have to watch where you send your kids these days. You know, people handing out Benadryl, popsicles to your kids.
No doubt. You ain't never lied.
With us not having any family here, that does pose an issue because we don't necessarily have, my mom can watch our kids while I work part-time and ramp back up into work after a kid or something like that. It's either daycare or we at home.
Yeah, somebody got to be at home where it's daycare, facts.
But I don't know. I think ideally, maybe stay at home with them until they can walk and talk and snitch, and then we right back to work.
So you wouldn't take a 5-year layoff until they get into school?
Nah. That's a little too long. I almost feel like the 2 to 3 years before they get snitched is kind of long. But I almost feel like the world we live in almost says yo, you want your kid to survive? You want to make sure they're okay?
You not
almost
want them to be
have
effed up?
to do that.
Right. I don't know. The way I feel is kind of what you're saying. I know based on who I know you to be, you couldn't be a stay-at-home mom for very long because you could be a stay-at-home mom in the sense that's okay, I work nights. You know what I'm saying? You have to be doing something outside the house and not junior league, not tennis matches, not country club, actually doing something productive. So if you're working on your foundation, or something like that outside the house while you're being a quote unquote stay-at-home mom, you could probably do that.
Well, hopefully, Slade wigs be popping off in the next couple months. And, while I'm being a stay-at-home mom, I can be a stay-at-home shipping out these wigs, mom.
Slade wigs coming soon. Details on the way. So, that was a short and sweet question only because we're kind of on the same accord with that. I would definitely don't judge anybody, as far as the stay-at-home thing. Personally, I don't understand no dude who could be a stay-at-home dad. I don't get that at all. Now, to me, stay-at-home dad means you are not working. If you are telecommuting and you're stay-at-home, then that means you're a telecommuting stay-at-home. You know what I'm saying? Stay-at-home to me means no job. Your job is the kids.
I have met a couple stay-at-home daddies.
Dad life?
Man, talk about dad life. That is the ultimate dad life. I hate to say it, but I feel like these stay-at-home daddies was doing it way tougher than the stay-at-home mommies. They had schedules. It was no, we can't do this because we going here. Whipped out the schedule on the phone. Was no, such and such is going here. I was get it.
Son in the stay-at-home mom.
I've never seen a stay-at-home mom that organized.
Whipping that van on the 20s. Because ain't got the wheel well for the 24s. With the camo paint on Ballers.
Yes. Slinging them kids. Whoosh. But those kids were very, very well behaved too.
No doubt.
Also something that I don't always see with stay-at-home moms.
Man, that's the worst. To me, if you a stay-at-home mom and your kids is misbehaved, it's yo, you not doing your job. You kind of low-key failed.
Thank you. If I were a stay-at-home mom, I'd be trying to be like Mary Poppins up in this piece. Miss Frizzle / Mary Poppins. Imagination's on fleek, clean, well behaved, and they know how to read and do math.
/ Nate Dogg with the regulating. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't get that. When you see a stay-at-home mom, it's your job is basically
child rearing.
Yeah, how you failing at child rearing? Because you don't want to do your job.
Yeah, you over here slacking, watching Jerry Springer on the couch and stuff.
Pops come home, see the house is a mess, see the kids misbehave, see she ain't done nothing. It's okay, it's time for your yearly review. It's a step in my office.
I think it's time for you to go to work.
Right, because this right here is not a good investment for me.
But yeah, I can see just typecasting, I guess, the population of Columbus that I encounter on a daily basis. Stay-at-home moms are slacking. Stay-at-home daddies is winning. It'd be nice to see more well-behaved children, but I almost feel like that's a sign of the times.
Yeah.
Heck of people that work and don't work, their kids still bad. We have all been to Walmart before. We've seen it.
Bruh, it's like that's where they all go. Let's congregate at the Walmart.
It's like, let's go to Walmart and let our kids run wild.
Yo, and it's like Target was like, yo, if your kids is bad, you can't come in our store no more. I ain't seen no acting out kids at Target.
Because they'll get put out.
By you, lady?
No, security.
But I don't see no security. Where the security people at?
I mean, they have on red shirts just like everybody else.
Oh. It seemed like everybody with a red shirt is security. Just like everybody with a red shirt is a cashier. Everybody with a red shirt is a stalker. You do it all.
True. Unless you work in a fitting room. Shouts out to Target. But straight up, like Target, they be on them like CIA walkies. Bad kid on aisle 3.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Ma'am.
You're like, sorry, excuse you. We can't do that. Are you purchasing items? All right, well, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Yo, straight son them. Are you spending money? Then you need to shut the fuck up.
Thank you. It's like, where's your parents?
Dang. I ain't mad at that, though.
I'm not either. It creates a really great place to shop.
Yep.
It's
nice
too bad that I had to abandon shopping there because I just always spend too much money.
Yeah, you kind of got a Target addiction a little bit.
It's just so
It's
hard
not even an addiction per se. It's like, hey, I'm going to go get one thing, you come out with like 10.
Because everything's on sale. Everything that you use in your house is always on sale there. You be like, oh, I'm just going to get toilet paper, but then toothpaste on sale. And you have to walk past the toothpaste to get the toilet paper, but oh, now you have to make that pit stop because now you see laundry detergents on sale.
It's by design.
I know. That's how they get you. They do it on purpose. Target winning.
I ain't mad at that.
You get caught up in the cipher, and now you can't leave. But Amazon has freed me from their cipher.
Man, we shouting out all these brands. We ain't
I know, everybody know where I shop.
We ain't getting no money from none of these brands. Just shout them out.
Well, if they want to start, working with us.
F with us.
I've been shopping there. I'm loyal.
Facts be. So, we went to an engagement party.
Woo!
Shouts out to, we was calling them the Lucas Lees, but they finna just be the Lees.
Yeah, because Lee lit forever.
# Lee lit forever. So, my boy, I don't know. Should we just full out and say their names and stuff?
We always do.
Okay. My boy Derek, he proposed to his fiance Nicole, and it was really beautiful and stuff. That was the bad restaurant experience that we always talking about.
But now he had a good restaurant experience.
Yeah, this wine spot, and it was kind of tight. They had full blown meals and all that, and we had a nice private room. It was really dope. And one of the things I liked that just made me feel good was all these awesome, successful people of color and like beautiful working relationships with children, just making it happen. You know what I'm
marriage
saying?
was like blooming all over that room. Like success was blooming all over that room.
All over. And it's like the complete opposite of the stereotypes of people who look like us. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
kids well behaved.
Right. Everybody on point, no discord. Everybody still having a real time, not being all bougie, having real talk and real conversation. It was a really dope time. So, and, Derek asked me to be one of his groomsmen, so I'm feeling that. About to be a groomsman. It's going down. I'm not gonna say the date because I don't need people showing up randomly, because of our podcast. But yeah, I'm really honored to do that. Thank you, Derek. But it was just an awesome time. So one of the things that I was talking to Candace, talking to you about this earlier today, and it was like one of the things I noticed in the room is just so all these relationships, because just about everybody in the room was married. There's a lot of strong women in this room, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, you could tell they got strong attitudes, they driven, It might take a guy with a lot of testosterone to, wrangle them in and impress them, you know what I'm saying?
This is why I say a lot of testosterone, a lot of patience, and fall back game strong.
Yeah, your time and when
know.
you fall back is just on point. And it looked like a lot of the fellas in the room, was falling back. I just thought it was really interesting because how do I say this without getting in trouble? There aren't a whole lot of docile women, black women, because they're in a position where they can't afford to be docile. Where people, if they're docile, people don't take them seriously. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think it's cool that even though these women were all strong and fully focused and driven, that at the same time, they can all be married and be functional and submit to their man, and their man can lead them and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know what's going on in everybody's relationship, but just seeing it was just a beautiful sight to me. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody
so
trying
refreshing.
To get divorced up in the room. So
right, people ain't bickering, ain't arguing about stuff. Wasn't no baby mamas in the room. You know what I'm saying? No baby mamas. Everybody was just getting along. It was dope. It was dope. But it made me think about men and leadership and what that requires in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Candace?
I mean, yeah, because I'm totally the man in the relationship. I know all about this man leadership.
But no, and that's only because, like, in my opinion anyway, and we've discussed this before, like, a man's job is to lead in a relationship. Like, the woman is not supposed to be running the household per se. Like, the man is supposed to be running his own household. Now, granted, the woman is supposed to help him and support him and gird him up. And when he need a shoulder to cry on, or he need a hug, or he needs somebody to give him some good advice, or he needs to be considered of the other person in the household who's paying bills. Like, you come to your lady and stuff. But at the same time, I guess for me, getting my horns around this leadership thing, getting my hands around these horns of leadership it's just been difficult only because I don't have a template. I didn't have a blueprint. I don't know what a happy home looks like. And I think there are a lot of guys in that situation where it's like, this is what a man is supposed to be. This is what a man does, and this is what a woman's supposed to be, and this is what a woman does. And I mean, how do you navigate that being a wife? Not the leadership part, but just knowing your role.
I just do what I want to do, but sometimes it's a struggle because I know that for whatever reason you haven't up until this point, 2016, seen yourself as a natural leader. You've always kind of considered yourself more of a beta type of personality where, you can be in charge, but you don't want to be the front man type of thing. And I think some of the situations that we have been in have called for you to step up and actually lead. I know I'm always pushing you to tell me what it is that you think in regards to our household. But I think in your personal business, like, that's probably been what has changed the situation the most. Having to take the leadership role amongst a group of your peers.
Well, I just know that, like, my leadership style, my natural leadership style is real sledgehammer. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are really sensitive, So it's like, if somebody asks me a question, I'm going to give them my exact answer. And people get in their feelings about that sometimes. Sometimes they take it personally. And it's like, no, you kind of asked me a question, so I'm going to give you an answer. And if you get butthurt about it, that is definitely your business, And that's not all. That doesn't help. That doesn't always help the people that you have to lead grow, So at least early in my life, like, I don't mean like when I was like 12, but I mean like early in my adult life, I realized that maybe my leadership style doesn't work well. Maybe I should just fall back. Maybe I'll just be the idea guy. Maybe I'll just be the organizer. I'll be the mastermind, and I'll let somebody else lead. Like the thing I always say is, I can be the dude who writes the songs and be the drummer, and somebody else can just, be the front guy. And I'm cool with that. But that's not what I'm supposed to be in our relationship.
No.
I'm supposed to be the front guy.
And I can easily take over, but that's
not
the way
your role.
It's not the way I wanted my marriage to be. But it's just all based on stuff out the Bible. Like, no offense to my parents or anything, because they are still together and they have been together my whole life. But with my dad working at nights and my mom basically being there and raising us in the daytimes, the waking hours, I don't know how they worked it out, honestly. Like, I guess via the cell phone, I don't know. But some of those interactions that you would see to say, oh, this was the time when my dad was leading my mom, or, mom just took the reins. Like, I honestly don't know. It would seem from my childhood perspective that mom was just taking the reins. But as I got older, they're pinky in the brain, they a teen. So I'm just like, I don't know who was the brain for real.
Okay, that's fair. You said they pinky in the brain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, I don't know who was really the brain, because sometimes it seemed like, yeah, mom was doing it, but then, her and dad were always on one accord when it really came down to it. So I'm just like, how did this happen when y'all had time to talk?
You ever, like, tried to peel back the layers on that onion? Like get the inner workings, on how your relationship works?
I honestly can't say that I thought about it until after I got married. So, no, I have not been trying to peel back the onions. Like, there were other things in, family history, like infidelity and stuff, that me and my sister were just like, why y'all still together? Like, how'd y'all stay?
Damn.
Like, what it even, where's the slack in it so this could even happen? Because, like, I have 2 half brothers. So, and peeling that back, like, you get some answers and you'll hear, like, what? Y'all,
It's like, this ain't for me.
Do
you, but this ain't for me.
And it's just like, my parents like to fabricate and embellish things sometimes. So, you have to ask both of them at 2 different times to see which story sounded more, compare and be like, okay, this is what really happened.
So these are the actual facts.
Yeah. But even with the actual facts, it's like,
Yeah. I mean, the thing for me is like, so my situation is a little bit different in that my father got kicked out the house when I was like 16. So a bunch of stuff happened before that I won't get into, but I had no desire to really talk to him. And besides, it was a dysfunctional situation. So it's like, hey, mom, tell me about these mistakes you made in marrying this guy. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, wait, let me grab my notepad, take notes.
Right. Because there's nothing really for me to learn as far as like what works. I don't know what works, and really she doesn't either. Not to be disrespecting my mom, I love her, but she doesn't know what works in a relationship either because she hasn't been in a functional one. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless you're reading a book or something like that. And that's why, like, for me, like, our advice, Black.Married.Fly, comes with a grain of salt because we haven't even been 2 years in. So it's like, I'm not telling anybody what to do. These are our observations based on what we've been in. We ain't 20-year G's.
True, but a lot of our observations are coming from experience and taking it upon ourselves to read stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if not that our camera's panning around, but we have a decent little library going on.
Nice
usually on the official Bynk tablet, we have lots of articles that I'm pulling up, as well as, you know, everyone has Barnes & Noble at their fingertips thanks to the digital age. But it helps to read up on the things that you're curious about. If you feel like you have a certain issue within your relationship and you're not 100% sure how to handle it, there's a book for everything.
Right. And then you can always do the counseling route, you know, which is
they'll give you the books for everything.
Yeah. It's like, hey, read this and come back to me.
How would you, if you were giving someone advice, like sometimes you do, on how to navigate asserting the leadership role in a relationship based on your experience, how would you do that?
Okay, that's a good word, dog. So yeah, dog just hopped into my lap, my bad. So if I were to give somebody advice about asserting leadership, I think it starts day one. Day one, like with a woman, you are going to teach her how to treat you, like period, point blank. So if you come in like slipping, if you come in all ambiguous or unsure, she's going to pick up on all of that. And women, especially black women, Huey, get down. Get down. Get all the way down. Down.
Because he's about to step on the keyboard.
My bad.
Ruin our whole recording.
Yep. So anyway, it requires you being consistent from day one. Black women especially ain't got time for the inconsistency, ain't got time for you to be faltering, ain't got time for you to be unsure. So if they see unsureness and they're still unwilling to deal with you and put up with you and love you, they're going to fill in that gap. And they're going to fill in that gap in a way that you may not appreciate. You know what I'm saying? So she's going to start making decisions.
What's an
example? I can't think of one off the top of my head. With you and me. Yeah, I can't think of any I can't think of examples.
No gap filling over here. Just like
didn't
what
say
else?
that.
Letting
I
things fall.
Didn't say that. I just mean like I don't know. So in your case, like your expectations of me are fairly low. They used to be fairly high, but that's because you went into it like looking at me in a different light. Like you were looking at what I was accomplishing like in my career and with my job and how things were going, accelerating. It's like, man, he's doing all this stuff outside the house. Looks like he's running stuff, you know.
I mean,
so he's definitely gonna be running things here.
That's
and it's
when my
like,
feelings were hurt.
When were your feelings hurt?
When things started not happening, and I told you I felt like you were just telling me heck lies.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I would say I was gonna do something, and then it didn't get done. You know, so that's basically a lie to most people. Like, and if you only got a certain amount of times to do that before expectations get lowered down to nothing. And if she's like got no expectations of you, like at least me, I'm the kind of person that like somebody's got to bring an issue to me. If you don't bring an issue to me, I think everything's kosher. And I think a lot of guys are like that because like at least when I talk to guys or you know you see like things in media, it's like okay. The guy's always like, things were going so smooth. And she's like, things been effed up for years. Like, everybody always said, like, that's what I always hear. What that means is she been telling you and you ain't been listening. Or she ain't been telling you because she don't think you'd be listening in the first place. You know?
Yeah, both those kind of suck.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think for me, like, if I could do it all over again, when I would be more manly in the sense that when I say I'm going to do something, it gets done. Not it gets done on my timetable. It gets done when it needs to get done. Because you'd say, hey, you going to do this? Or, hey, Robert, I need help with this. Be like, all right, I got you. 2 weeks go by. Robert, you ain't done this yet. I mean, you know, I ain't not done it. You know, it's going to get done eventually. Like, people don't work on those kind of timetables in real life. You know? So, to do it over again, I would say just be more consistent. I think that's like a pillar in any relationship. You have to be consistent in a positive way.
Yeah. I was talking to my sister the other day, and she's, of course, in the dating world. She's not married or anything like that. And she was telling me that this guy that she had went on a date with 2 weeks ago, at first he didn't text her. He had just texted her after 2 weeks, like, oh, are you not interested? And that rubbed me so wrong. It was such a way that I started going off on a little bit of a tangent. I was just like, you know what? I don't like that so many men are waiting for women to take the initiative, even in courtship. I'm just like, it's cool to say, all right, I'm going to text him. But if she doesn't and you're still interested, like, what's wrong with reaching out a couple days later, like, hey, I enjoyed your company. Let's do it again. And the worst that can happen is you get a text back like, oh, I'm good. Like, it's not even face-to-face rejection anymore. So it doesn't take the same amount of balls as it used to when you had to go knock on her door, ask her dad if she was there, and be like, yo, do you want to go on a date with me? In front of her whole family.
I think there are several reasons for that. A couple of reasons I think are guys don't want to get hurt. Sometimes these females go in a little hard. That's one. Two, people don't have the same kind of social interaction that they used to. A lot of things happen electronically, so people are used to doing things more digital. They don't have the same social relationship skills anymore. The third one is, like, for some guys dealing with some females, it's a catch-22. So it's like, if you text her because you're thinking about her, and you do that one too many times, let's say you do that like twice a day, like 4 days in a row, she gonna be talking about you thirsty and all this other kind of stuff.
But that's just a chance you gotta take. But you gotta, if you liked her, hopefully she's not one of those types of girls. Like,
but
that's
most of them
saying.
are like that now. I think it's like you either thirsty or you not being a real man.
If you have already determined that this is a girl you're interested in, let's assume that you're not interested in people that would call you thirsty for checking in, trying to go on a second date, showing that you're interested. Like, that's the part, like, I get it. If she's some random IG thought, I get it. Like,
how do you know she's a random IG thought?
Because that's just what's popular right now. But, you know, she's just
that's
some
not
random.
Most women.
I'm just saying she's just some random somebody you don't
that you
know
met
well,
online,
you've never
on a
talked
dating
to.
website.
But if you've talked enough to go on a date, like, I think you have determined that this person's not a thirst trap.
No, that's not enough to determine that. That's why you go on a date.
Yeah, and after the date, like I said, in between the first date and somewhere before a second date, how long is too long before you let somebody know you want to go on a second date? Like, that's what I mean when I'm talking about men being assertive. Like, if you're interested, you shouldn't wait 2 weeks to let somebody know you're interested.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just telling you why. But I feel like
it starts from there. I still think it's a BS answer. Like,
my answer was BS?
I hear it, but I'm just like, okay, like, it's just a text. I feel like the social faux pas, I'm just like, it's not like you had to go track her down. You didn't have to call the house phone. All you had to do is text, yo, what you doing? And you don't even have to write it out. Yeah. WID.
I don't know. Like, my catch with, like, all of that, and I like I said, I don't think 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks is a long time, you know. But some guys, I'm just telling you what it is. Not
I
that
hear
it
what
makes
you're
sense,
saying,
okay?
but to me, it's like, while trying to assert leadership, if that's how your relationship start, how you're gonna struggle the whole time.
First off, most guys don't know how to lead. Me included, at to a point. Like, if you aren't taught how to lead as a child, as a man, by another man, it's very difficult to learn how to lead, especially a woman. Guys can lead other guys and they can naturally figure that out. Most guys can't lead a household or a woman naturally without somebody showing them or them doing the trial and error. And a lot of guys these days are getting raised by women who, you know, have to figure everything out on their own. So, and women who in some cases are using the child to replace the baby daddy or whoever it is who that isn't in the household, shoving him into a role he isn't designed or ready for. And some of them are bitter, you know what I'm saying? So this guy who's been around women all his life, who's looking at media and not seeing very many strong men on television anymore, like in any kind of race or context. You see a whole bunch of, like, especially sitcoms, is some bumbling, you know, Dumbledore, like, slowpoke kind of guy, and it's some, you know, svelte, you know, sexy, got it all together, you know, alpha type woman who seems to be really running the house, and he's there for comedic effect. Like, all of this kind of stuff sinks in, not a whole lot different than women and body issues, you know? So this guy doesn't have a whole lot of leadership in the household, at least not from a testosterone perspective. And he's trying to navigate without, stepping on landmines and getting catch-22 by one that's like, yo, why you always texting me? Because I'm thinking about you and I want to deal with you. You sound like you're not really trying to deal with me.
But I mean, if you came at her like that, shut it down.
Yeah, that shuts it down for a whole lot of women. But the guy's like, okay, I like her. I don't want to get shut down.
Well, not necessarily shut it down. Like, at that point, you threw the ball back at her. Like, you want to call me thirsty, but do you want a man or not? Because
I'm not even
this
getting
is the
into
type of man I
woman
am.
just like that. Yeah.
But I think it's better to assert and be who you are and show that you're not just, the bumbling sitcom person waiting for her to do everything, to establish that leadership role.
And some men they just gotta sort that out over time. That's
like,
all I'm saying.
I don't know. You always call me a stallion. Like, it's real hard to break a black woman. Like,
I'm
to
not
get
trying
her
to break
to be the horse that runs around in the circle versus trying to break out the corral. So,
well, part of that is about desire. So the woman has to want to be that kind of horse in the first place. If she doesn't ever want to be that kind of horse, if she wants to be a stallion, then yeah, then I don't want to say reprogramming, but if she doesn't have the desire to submit, or be a domestic goddess or any of that kind of stuff, then she's not going to.
What is a domestic goddess?
That's a woman who runs things, in her outside life, but she holds her man down. She got the house looking right. She doing the decorating and all this other kind of stuff. So I mean, that's just my take on it. Like, if I don't even like the word broken. Like, okay, stallion, that's cool. The breaking part, that's kind of just messed up. Like, if you have to break a woman in order to get her to be something that makes sense within y'all's relationship, then you need to leave her alone, bruh.
Well, since we're comparing them to horses, that's the term that you use.
Yeah, I use that complimentary. The stallion's complimentary. I mean, I could call you wild. I could call you a donkey. That's not complimentary. So that's what I use, stallion. But the woman has to want to conform. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of women don't. They want to be just like guys, which is cake and eat it too.
I feel like it's not even I want to be just like guys, but this world that's been molded around me says that this is what I have to be to survive in a lot of cases.
And then when you come along, you find a good man who's trying to hold you down. Do you still have to be that woman?
How would you even know if you never seen one? Like, that's just like what you said about leadership.
I'm talking about you. I'm not talking about any woman.
I mean, I got married.
Yeah, so at that point, like, if you're in an invested relationship, you know what I'm saying? If you're single, then you're single, and you got to do what you got to do to hold you down. But and if you have a man like a boyfriend, he's not supposed to play the role of husband yet. He's right now he's in the interview process for you to see if he's what you need him to be. So he's not supposed to be holding you down the same way a husband would. But after it's like in husband mode, it's like, okay, do you want to be the wife that submits? Do you believe your husband has your back and will support you and protect and provide for you? If the answer is to yes to all that, then you have to want to conform to that role. The same way a man, as a leader, as a protector and provider, has to conform to that role. Like, just because you was wild and you was out here doing your thing, man, you ain't have to worry about nobody but you. Doesn't mean you don't have to worry about nobody but you going into a relationship. You have a wife, you have to protect. You have to provide. You have to feed her mentally, and spiritually.
How do you do those things?
How do I do which things? The emotional. I mean
the list you just ran off.
So for me, I mean the there's the physical stuff that's really easy. Just get a job and pay the bills. But the other things require learning your woman a little bit different. So that goes back to the love languages thing. Like, you have to figure out what your woman appreciates. Does she appreciate gifts or time or what's her love language? You have to figure that out, and then you have to feed that accordingly. Like one of the elders at our church called it deposits. You have to make consistent deposits within that person. That helps build confidence with her that you're being a consistent man. As far as spiritually, like, if you aren't, like, in the word, if you aren't reading your word, if you aren't praying to God, like, you definitely can't lead her spiritually, because you won't have the relationship required in order to do that in the first place. Like, being able to pray with her, being able to pray for her, being able to pray with her, that kind of thing. And I probably could be doing better in that department. But those things are more detailed than just going out and buying gifts and paying bills. Like, that stuff is real easy and everybody can do that day one. It's the other things that take more time. So what'd you think about everything I just said? You just sitting there.
I'm just sitting there because I'm just like digesting it. Like I don't have a whole lot to say on the role of male leadership. It is hard. You disagree with like how I feel about it because you know, I feel like a lot of women are on their own for a good chunk of their lives to where they have to stand up and be, you know, male and female roles. You know, you go into work if you want to be successful on your job, you have to assert yourself almost like a man.
I think if you're single, there aren't male and female roles. There are adult roles.
If you're a single parent, then you are, and a lot of people are. A lot of women are single parents.
You just said single.
I said there's a lot of different roles that being a single woman, you end up having to play both male and female parts.
And I don't think most black people are single parents.
No, I don't. Yeah, just think there's a lot of single mothers out there in general, like whether they're black, white, or other.
And single fathers. You
know, and vice versa. And you end up having to, you know, play the more nurturing feminine role as a man, or sometimes you have to be the more, you know, man up masculine roles. And I think when you're deficient in those roles, then you have little issues with your children when they grow up.
And let's clear up single, because like a lot of people say, you know, single mom or hashtag single mom, you know, hashtag doing it on my own.
I mean,
if
like
he pays child support
and
he spends time with his child, you are not a single parent.
Yeah, that's
you guys just aren't in the same household. So it's not a joint household. But if he has some sort of joint custody or visitation and he sends you a check every month and he's spending time with his children, you're no longer a single parent, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And, you know, just being a part-time daddy's not being an active participant, in my opinion.
What's a part-time daddy?
A part-time daddy is the one that only send a check and only reach out to his kids at court
That's
visitation.
not a daddy at all, bro.
That's what I'm saying. It's the ones that only come around when they have been told they have to come around.
I feel like parenting and being a husband or a wife are definitely not part-time jobs. Sometimes they get treated that way, but you're either doing it or you're not. You're either married or you're not. You're either a parent or you're not.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying, like, the part-time daddies don't count. The part-time mommies, they don't count, because if someone has to tell you when to come get your kid and you're okay with that, like, seeing them at 2 weekends a month is good enough for you.
I mean, okay, that doesn't, to me, there's certain situations and that kind of thing. Like, if the court says this is what you're doing and you can't fight it, you don't have the money to fight it.
But if that's all you want to do and you're not actively trying to change any of that, you know, you never call and be like, yo, is Bobby having a, you know, basketball game? Can I come to the game?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when is it?
You just do what his court requires.
Yeah.
Court minimums.
You're just doing the minimums, because even though you may not have that weekend, like, you can still show up to the baseball game.
I think
let
you
little
should
Bobby know that you were there. You should.
Like, you still my child.
You know, you just ain't taking them home to your house.
Right.
But to me, that's being a full-time parent, taking that extra step, even when, you know, situations have been put into place to where maybe you don't get to have 100% of the time with them.
Yeah. And there are a lot of good fathers out there who they don't get to spend the time they want to with their kids. Like, I couldn't imagine being a father and I have children and I only see them every other weekend. Like some BS. You know, okay, I go out to the recitals and stuff like that, but it's like I don't get to take them home for real. I only get overnights, like, you know, 4 days a month, really. Mm-hmm. It's like, bruh, what? Yeah, that would kill me.
Yeah, that sucks. But I feel like it's almost the same thing with, you know, being in a marriage too, though. Like,
also,
if you are only doing the bare minimums required to be married, and I believe every relationship has different bare minimums. Mm-hmm. But if you're only doing the bare minimums that person, your spouse, requires for marriage, then, like, you kind of slacking there too. Like,
yeah,
if you're
that's
not
a good
trying to
point.
reach out and do that extra, you know, maybe she asks you to take out the trash. Maybe you take that initiative, make sure you grab all the trash out the house. You know, the ones out the bathrooms too.
We talking about Robert? We just talking?
No, I think in a lot of households that taking out the trash is usually a male responsibility, whether it's the husband, the boyfriend, or the son.
I'm
because
talking about
I imagine
the
once
example
we
you
have,
give,
huh?
I'm talking about the example you give.
I chose trash because I thought it was universal throughout most households.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine that if we ever have a son, that it will now become the son's responsibility to take the trash
Man,
out.
that boy gonna be 4 years old taking trash out.
That's old enough.
I think that's a little young.
I mean, step stool. You can walk out the front door, put the trash in a container, and come back.
Yeah. My mom's like one of 8 children, and she said her happy times were over at like 3 years old. They flipped over that little pail, and she was washing dishes. 3 years old. Like, you hear you got a job. That's right, son. You hear you got a job.
That's growing up on a farm.
Yeah, okay. To be fair, she grew up on a farm. It's not like she grew up at Caprini Green or something like that.
Yeah, I would imagine our kids would grow up in a pretty urban type setting, but I think that at 4 or 5 years old, you should be able to take the trash out.
Contribute some kind of way.
Yes,
even
clean up your own
trash
room.
To me.
Put your shoes on the right foot.
If you ain't putting your shoes on the right foot at 4 years old, it's
some kids struggle with that.
It don't feel uncomfortable.
Some kids struggle with that. Just like some kids struggle
with
potty training.
Children that struggle with that.
Yeah, like I said, there's some parents that struggle with potty training. You know, little Bobby just don't mind being.
Yeah, that's the parent struggling with it. That's not the child struggling with it.
Well, because if the child does not have a desire to get on the pot, like it's gonna be a constant battle.
You have to instill that desire in him.
And if they're okay with being wet, then what? Because some
there
kids
are other ways of persuading kids. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what discipline is. Kids are okay not doing their homework and playing video games all day. That's where parents are supposed to instill discipline.
Some children struggle with that too. Some parents struggle with that. What I'm saying is it's not always super easy. And putting your shoes on the right foot is not always super easy for every child. That's all.
I don't even remember being confused about that.
I don't either, but I have seen enough children be confused about it to know that it's
know
apparently a struggle. Yeah. But yeah,
like, bro, your shoes don't feel wrong.
Yeah,
shoes don't feel wrong.
And they just be looking down like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Man, sit down, boy. Put your shoes on right. God, will you?
Shouts out to Irv.
Yo, you a weirdo, bruh. Yeah, Irv one of the real ones. He was him and Tamika were at the engagement party.
Yes.
Shouts out to them. Yeah.
You gotta get them on the show eventually.
Yeah. We try. I'm trying to get just about all the couples that was in that room on the show eventually. Get some features going, because almost Well, really, yeah, almost all of them. Because Joel and Mike, they ain't been married longer than us. All the other couples
they're the
been
only
married.
ones who haven't been married longer than us.
They act like they have, though. They seem like they have. I'd love to pick his brain about leadership in the household.
Well, maybe we'll do a part 2.
So, I mean, for me right now, the struggle is just, how do I figure out how to do this? Because, I mean, like I said, my natural leadership style is F your feelings. If you feeling bad, you need to do some self-examination.
I feel like that does not work in a relationship. Yeah. It can work among friends, but I don't think
it'll work among anybody.
I think it could work among friends because friends aren't always as sensitive as people that you sleep with.
Your friends are not my friends. My friends are sensitive as shit.
I mean, I don't even know what to say to that, but...
What?
I just feel like with friends, you can sometimes say things in certain ways that you don't necessarily say to your girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse.
Like what? Your spouse is supposed to be your best friend.
I would hope that some things that you would normally just blurt out to your friends, that you think twice about how you present it to your spouse.
I need an example.
I don't even necessarily have a whole bunch of examples because all my friends are so far away. It doesn't matter what I say to them because they can't reach out and do anything.
I can't think of nothing that I would have to repackage for you based on your position. Now I'll repackage things for you based on you being who you are. Like, this is Candace, so I have to repackage it.
Well, there's some things like back when you were just my homie. Yeah. And I would just like blurt out anything to you, like about how I was feeling or whatever. Like now, especially if it's something negative, I try to premise it different. Cause like if you were my homie or just like my roommate and we were just homies, and like you left a tissue on the counter, I'd be like, "Blood, what the hell's wrong with you?" Now I'd be like,
"You
babe,
do that now? What are you talking about?"
Because I tried to be soft about it and it didn't work. And it's like, babe, I really don't like it when you leave these things around. It really makes me feel bad. It grosses me out. As my homeboy, I just been like, get this shit off the counter.
But me personally, see, that's just different about me, I guess. If somebody says that to me, all right, I'll get it off the counter. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand why something like that would be disgusting to someone else.
But you see the difference in the abrasiveness of the comment?
Yeah, but I'm not sensitive like that. Like, I don't think I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're saying some real stuff to me, and it's something I need to check myself about, it's not about me being like, oh, I can't believe you said that. It's more like me about being like, yo, you effing up right now, bruh.
I think that you're more sensitive than what you let off because there's been a lot of different conversations throughout this bumpy road of first-year marriage that we've been on to where I'm just like, I don't want you to feel like I'm picking on you, but
that's
really,
not that. Huey? See, what? He's bringing his bed in here.
Why is his bed out of his kennel?
Because he want to lay on it. See, that's what he's doing now. The dog fine. He ain't roughhousing it. He wasn't trying to kill it. He just wants something soft to lay on, and he likes it. He likes his new bed.
Okay.
So anyway, but no, what I'm saying for you is like, with the way you state things, it's like you don't want to feel like you're picking on me. It's not about me being like, dang, I can't believe she said that. Yo, she getting at me hard. It's about me processing it. So it's like, am I really messing up like that? Dang, I am messing up like that. I know, but your
processing time is so different from my processing time. Just
you don't have processing time.
No, I just either take it or I don't.
Yeah. That's just different than me.
Black and white for me.
I like to do a lot of self check and making sure that I'm legit in my communication and my stance on something. But a lot of people don't self check, you know.
I personally don't necessarily understand the self check situation, but I also live my life with very few regrets, and I'm not ashamed of most things that I do.
So the self check is more about, am I arguing my position properly because I'm actually justified, or am I arguing it because I want to be right?
If I don't feel justified, then I won't argue it at all.
But sometimes I go back and think, Candace wasn't tripping. She was right. My bad, girl. And then I'll go try to check it. I feel like for you, it's more like, I'm bringing this up because I'm right, and there's nothing else to talk about. It's like, there's a chance you're actually not, because you're human.
If I felt that way, I would definitely say there is no other way.
But you're like that with a lot of things.
I'm not like that. Like, you interpret it to be that way, but we go lack of feedback a lot of times, and this goes back to leadership. Leaves the premise that, okay, well, I've been saying this, he ain't really said no, so this must be cool.
The reason I don't give you a whole lot of feedback now is because, like, I feel like at one point my situation is the same one you feel like you're in. So if I give you feedback on something, nothing changes. I just sit back and watch. Like, I'll tell you something, and I'll sit back and watch for like a month and a half, 2 months. Nothing changes. Nothing looks like it's trying to change. All right, she's not interested in changing. Because I'm not the kind of person to be forcing people to trying to beat them over the head and being like, yo, 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 yo. I'm not that kind of person.
That's so whack to me.
What?
Because, like, if you're not going to, like, help remind and say, yo, I thought we said we was doing it this way type of stuff, like, when someone's slacking, especially me, I'm just like, how am I growing in this relationship? Like, you ain't sprinkling no water on my plant right now.
I mean, that's a fair point, but you're the kind of person that be like, yo, where the results at? Where the results at? Where the results at? So if you're driven like that, then I expect you to be that kind of person when you're adjusting self-correction.
I'm very much a goal-driven person, but if it's not something that was on my radar in the first place,
or that you had an interest in changing,
most of the time I don't. But that's not the point. If that's what needs to happen in this relationship to help it grow, then obviously it needs to happen. But if I'm this little finicky orchid that I tend to be, sometimes I just need a little extra water, a little extra reminder, like, hey, I thought you said that we were going to do X, Y, and Z. Like, it's one of those moments where you can exercise doing X, Y, and Z, and it's not happening.
I guess
that's kind of like the soft check.
I mean, I could do that, but sometimes I feel like that's not productive. So, and maybe that's something I have to sort out. Like, for example, you went to do some church cleanup stuff on Saturday. I got a text way after the fact. Wait, you said you were going to be leaving at a certain time. You didn't leave until an hour and a half later. I got the text an hour and a half later, and you said you were on your way. Today, you and I went to 2 different church services. I went in the morning because I had to serve, and then you came later. You didn't have your phone. Now, the thing about that is, when I didn't send you a text because I didn't have my phone, you were all over me about it. And it's like, but at the same time, she often comes home like an hour late because she's working at work like an extra hour, or she's got something going on at work, or she's hanging out with friends or something, and she comes home late. And it's like she comes home late a lot. You know what I'm saying?
I very rarely hang out with friends by myself.
Okay.
Like,
the friends thing, not so much.
It's usually some other requirement where I'm at a very disclosed location.
But when you're coming home at a much later time than you said you were going to, and then you're harping on me talking about, where's your phone? You know, I didn't know what was going on with you. I could have used somebody else's phone. And I thought in my head, this girl hardly ever communicates when she come home, late. But I'm the one who needs to be doing something about it. So for me, like, I usually try to self-process before I bring up anything to you that I'm not doing, So it's like, I couldn't come to you and be like, yo, you getting a little large. Like, you maybe need to lose some weight. It's like, bro, get your ass in the gym and shut the hell up before you come to her about any of that kind of stuff.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's good that you voiced this and know my feelings aren't hurt. And for your information, Pastor Tracy checked me on that the day of. So your lack of reprimanding someone else already picked it up. But those are the things I'm talking about. Like, Sometimes you need to hear those things. Be like, yo, like, you're asking me to do this. You need to extend the same courtesy.
Mm-hmm. It's just I'm hesitant to do that a lot of the time because I'm somebody who's big on peace in the house. It's like, yo, I ain't trying to do a whole lot of arguing. And you somebody who, you know, you down to throw down whenever. Like, that's just who you are. That's how you're built. And I'm the kind of person that if somebody's talking crap, you know what I'm saying, I'm just going to walk away. And you're the kind of person who's probably going to start swinging. You know, so for me, it's like if we were both like that, it'd be hella arguing. It'd be hella strife. And I'm not that kind of person.
That's
like
fine.
at all.
I just don't see that as that type of situation.
Well, I wasn't expecting you to process it the way you did just now, because there have been other times that I brought up stuff like that, and you didn't process it the same way. You immediately went into, I don't want to say defense, but you went into offense. Like, yo, you tripping right now, da da da. How about the time that you did this? So I expected that kind of response to the point where it's like, why even bring this up?
Well, true. Like, you know the nature of my work, so I probably won't be able to text you, like, to say, hey, this procedure's running late because I'm still in a procedure. However,
you can't have somebody call me?
Usually there's not anyone there but me and the doctor, so
Robin's already gone home.
Most of the time it's just me and the doctor.
You can't pick up when you know you're running late. These are all, look, I don't really care about it one way or the other, but I know these are things that you would tell me.
No, like I said, the nature of my job, I work in health. Sometimes procedures turn out to be different things than what we initially start. So, you know, we're thinking we're going in for, you know, a 5-10 minute filling, and next thing you know, we're doing a 45-minute root canal. So those are things that I can't necessarily just be like, hold up, let me go call my husband, especially if there's not anyone still in the building physically to help me with that.
Like I said, for me, like,
I get where you're coming from.
Like, I don't start to get concerned until it's been like a couple hours. So, it's more about the point that just doing what you're expecting of someone else.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I said, and to me, that's like a soft check. Now, if you come at it like combative, like, yo, you told me you needed to do this, that, and this, and you ain't even doing it, like, that changes the situation completely.
Am I that kind of person, though? Do I come across that way? It's
you do like to pull measurements. Like, you are quick to be like, give me an example, what about when, type of thing.
That's about illustration, though, for me. That's not about you lying. I don't think you're lying about it. It's just I want to know so I can better understand.
Well, true, but to me, to be able to pull those all the time says that I'm paying attention and I'm keeping a record because I'm going to use this at a later date. And most of the time, I'm not trying to use any single instance or bunch of instances to come back with ammunition for an argument later.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not me.
Okay.
But to be like, in this instance, like, yo, 2 days before you said that I need to hit you and you didn't offer me the same courtesy, like, two-way street. Like, I don't think that's breaking harmony in the household. I think that's creating balance.
Shouts out to Pastor Lonnie with the balance. Yeah, he, like, the reason that this even got provoked the same way is because Pastor was talking about a bunch of the different tools you need in order to, like, build a good household. You know, building a blessed house. And he talked about how you have to protect your vision and you have to follow the blueprint, which is the word. You know, you have to be able to cut certain things out your life when they aren't healthy. You have to be able to measure what you're giving is what you expect to receive, you know, because you can't be, and that goes back to what you were saying about, you know, doing the minimal. If you're doing the minimal in a relationship, you can get the minimal out of it. You want it to grow, you got to be giving it the all the right, you know, sunshine and water and everything that it needs, not the bare amount. Then the other thing was, what was the last one? The level. That was about balance, making sure that everything's balanced in your life. And he gave the 4 tires about God, family, rest and relaxation, and then your job and career, and how all those things have to be in harmony and be balanced in order for you to be successful. It really spoke to me. Because my life, to be honest, is kind of out of balance right now. Like, I'm not, you know, dedicating as much time to God as I used to. And, like, you know, just reading the word and praying every morning and stuff like that. And then, you know, there's the job stuff with, you know, B1KRadio.com and the business. And then, you know, my 9 to 5. And there's you know, which is out of balance. It's not getting what it needs. And I definitely think you and I don't do enough rest and relaxation. At least together.
We always have something else to do.
Always running.
Like, that's kind of part of the reason why I stepped back from some of my responsibilities that I have had, because I feel like I'm a little overwhelmed in trying to be a wife and trying to support you and going back to school and wanting to start a business and all these other things that I have going on, that I just need to take a step back, clear my plate, and start stacking my blocks appropriately instead of building my little Jenga tower with 2 blocks on the bottom and a bunch of heavy ones on top.
Illustration, yo, because it's like, if you're building like a Jenga block where it's like, okay, in order for me to put another block up here, instead of actually adding another block, you're pulling something from someplace else. That tower is going to be unstable as crap.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like I've been doing for most of the first year that we've been married. I feel like you've probably been doing it too.
Me too.
I don't necessarily have more time than what I had before, or less time than what I had before. It's just I'm pulling time from other places. So when I thought that I had an hour for this, I've now cut it to 30 minutes, and I took that 30 minutes to create time for this other thing.
Yep.
And like, it's not been working, and it's been unsettling for my spirit. So.
And everybody only gets 168 hours in a week. That's all there is. That's it.
No matter how you cut it, like, that's what it is.
So.
Well, like I said, it was something that was unsettling to me, and it was a personal decision that I made to rearrange some stuff.
And I think it's definitely necessary to do that, like getting feedback from your significant other, and sitting down, and when it's time to rebalance, just rebalance. Like, you may not like it, may not be comfortable, might have to say no to some people, but you need to keep that car running balanced. You need to make sure one of them tires ain't flat, because by the time, if it's got a little bit of air in it, then you can get it to the gas station, put some more air in it or whatever. That mug is flat and it's blown.
That's it.
Your ride's all messed up. You know what I'm saying? You on the side of the road trying to figure out how you gonna get to the next spot. But at the same time, like, tires don't usually just blow like that. It's a certain amount of time that they've been leaking, or that you ain't been attentive to them properly. So.
Yeah. Well.
That's my thoughts on all this.
That's mine too. I didn't have as many as you did, but I kind of felt like this was a real man-driven episode for male advice more so than female advice. And maybe we will, talk about the female side of it next episode.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, if y'all have questions, comments, encouragement, discouragement, whatever, we want to hear from you. We want some feedback. Let us know how we're doing with this show, because we're now on episode 11. Whoop, whoop. And, we just need to know what works, what doesn't work. Self-evaluate, some of the self-check, which to us, this is great. So y'all gotta let us know.
Yeah. Thanks, bro. We'll holler at y'all. Bye.
Bye.
BYK Radio.